Hi.
Hey.
I'm not going to ask you anything about Walking Dead, if you can tell by my T-shirt.
Right.
Viltrum Empire. But congratulations, first of all, with Amazon Prime and your animated Invincible series. I am definitely looking forward to that. Do you think that they're going to stay as close to that story as possible? And do you think that they're going to keep the brute violence that Ryan Ottley drew throughout that comic to keep people into it?
Yeah. It's going to be a very...
Awesome.
It's not going to be like one of those mature cartoons where they're like, oh, look at all this crazy profanity that doesn't really need to be here, you know, like that kind of thing. Right. But it is going to be as violent as the comic book series. And as far as staying close to the original story, I'm writing the pilot, and I'm working very closely with Simon Rapioca nice. To craft the series. And so it's going to be very different.
Awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations with all the Amazon Prime stuff. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Obviously,
please buy all of your things from Amazon. And they make me say, hey, or they try, oh God, sorry.
Responsible plug right there.
Yeah, they've got like a shocker thing on me if I don't. Sign up for Prime. Free same-day shipping or whatever it is. 2-day shipping, is that what it is?
Nailed it, yeah.
Great.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
With Invincible coming and you writing the pilot now.
All hail Bezos. Go ahead.
What scene or scenes are you really looking forward to being created with Invincible? Obviously, just huge iconic moments from that book, really early too. But which ones are you most excited to see?
I mean, the weird stuff is what excites me. I mean, I'm looking forward to, the trash bag landing in London and things like that. Stuff that like no one in this audience cares about. I mean, there's big epic stuff that every Invincible fan knows about that that I'm hoping to get to. There's weird stuff like I would love for the series to go long enough to get to the bulletproof like origin story from issue 97.
There you go.
I think that's a lot of fun. I just completely lost everyone. I'm very sorry. Hey, why don't you come after the panel and we'll talk about Invincible. Is that cool?
Deal. All right.
But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for being here.
I'm really going through some things.
So every time I pick up one of your books and I introduce it to a friend or a family member, one of the things...
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that sticks out is that your characters are instantly relatable. And we only have more time to get to know those characters. So with developing Invincible as a 2.5-hour movie, what challenges have you faced in developing this movie and trying to make the character instantly relatable to us as well?
Well, I think the lion's share of that work on the movie side of things is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. And one of the reasons I'm excited to be working with them on the Invincible movie is just how infinitely relatable everybody is in all of their movies. Like, there's not one character in their movies that you don't go, I've thought that, or I've done that, or we've all made that mistake, or misspoken like that guy's misspoken, and if you just go through their catalog, they produced this recent movie, Blockers, and they didn't write it, they didn't direct it, but I can't remember the actor's name, so I shouldn't be talking about it, but they produced that movie, and there's a scene in that movie that has like no business being in that movie because it's like so heartfelt and so touching, where this guy just goes on and on about his divorce and what happened to him and how it affected his life, and all of his friends stopped talking to him, and it turns into like this amazing comedic moment because everybody that's around him after he's done this like 4-minute tirade about how it completely destroyed his life and how depressed he was, everyone just goes, yeah, okay, cool, and then they like walk away, and you're like, oh God, they're not going to react at all. But like for that moment, you're like, oh my God, like that's just such a beautiful moment, and knowing that they oversaw that movie, and they've done that kind of thing, and all of their other work tells me that it's in good hands. And so as far as the relatability of the characters in the Invincible movie, I don't think you guys have anything to worry about.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great. And then when the movie comes out and everybody praises it, I'll take credit.
Sure. Okay. You said, I know you're working with Seth Rogen on your Invincible. You've been following Preacher since season 1, of course, but original series. I love the story.
Sure.
I was ticked off episode 1 when he changed up the timeline
You want me
completely.
to call them?
Yeah, sure, please.
I'm not
So-
going to do that.
So
I don't have their number.
So I'm curious. When you collaborate with someone and they, I guess, are producing, how much control do you as a writer have over the content, over the direction of your show? I mean, like is your issue 1 going to be how the pilot's going to be, or do they come in and start just blowing things up, and then for the true fans, they're like, hey, what the hell? This is not what we're accustomed to.
Don't like that term, true fans. I think everybody's a fan, whether you've been there for a week or a year or 2 months, whether you want something to be changed or not changed. I don't like this separating people from things. If I could just get on my soapbox for a minute and piss off half of the audience. But for the true fans, the only ones I care about, we're really going to make sure that, if you haven't been reading since first grade, I don't want you reading my stuff. But no, well, first of all, Seth and Evan are working on the movie, so it won't be an episode or anything like that. But as far as like how much control I have versus how much control they have, I mean, it's a collaboration. It's not a matter of, I want to do this, well, then you're not allowed. Like, there's not any kind of situation where that would arise. Like, there's any number of discussions before you hitch your wagon to somebody where you find out, like, what they like about the property, what they want to do with the property, like, what things they, care deeply about, the kind of message they want to send with it. And it's that process where you have to kind of, get to know these people and like fall in love with what they're going to do with your creation. And from that point on, it's oh, I'm thinking about taking it this way, I'm thinking about doing that. And you talk about it and you work through it. But you don't do it if you don't want to see what their vision is. And to impede their vision would kind of defeat the whole process. And so, there's things that are going to be different. There's things that are going to be the same, but that's kind of the beauty of it, and that's what makes it the most fun for me. And I hope that the audience sees that, like, for instance, the Iron Man movie. Like, if you love Robert Downey Jr. and, Jon Favreau and everything that they did with that story, there's a significant amount of that is not in any of the comics.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing that ideally I would like out of the Invincible movie, where you go, oh, that's the best Invincible story I've ever seen. Like, that's what you want. And maybe that'll have a bunch of stuff from the comic. Maybe that'll have a little bit and some new things. I mean, we'll see. It's still very early on in the process. But whatever it is, it's going to be great, and it's going to have fucking flying dogs shooting lasers out of their eyes. So,
Nice.
because that's what I want to do.
There you go.
It's going to be called Invincible the Dog.
All right, that was tight, right? Okay, cool. I'm not going to hold y'all up anymore, so let's give it up for prolific comic book creator, writer, producer, and CEO of Skybound Games, Robert Kirkman, CEO, David Alpert, CEO of Skybound North, Catherine Winder, and CEO of Skybound Games, Ian Howe. How y'all doing? Yes. Oh, have you ever seen so many happy Sharknado fans?
Hello, everybody.
Can we talk about that like cool animated thing that y'all might be working about? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, what was that? It seemed like there was a snippet of animated Super Dinosaur in that big trailer, but that's weird.
Yeah, well, there's Super Dinosaur, which was one of your properties, and Jason Howard, who's out here somewhere, incredible creator. And then there's another small property that we're working on in animation that
Yes.
called
A thing called Invincible that we're doing with Amazon. Yeah, very excited about that. We've got Justin and Chris Copeland directing, and we've got Simon Rapioka as our head writer and showrunner. So yeah, it's going to be really great. I wrote the pilot, and so very excited about the journey we're going to be taking you on. And unlike most animated stuff, this is going to be like an hour-long drama. So it'll be, like any cable drama that you enjoy, like, say, The Walking Dead or whatever. It just happens to be animated. So it's going to be really cool, which will allow us to do more on television with a superhero story than I think anyone has ever done. So if you enjoy those, DC shows and Marvel shows, they're super great. But the scale and scope of what we're going to be able to do in Invincible is going to dwarf their capabilities. I'm very happy to tease.
Yeah, we can't say much, but we just have an awesome creative team, as you mentioned, and the look that we're going for is extraordinary. We're very, very excited about it. What an awesome show to start off with.
It's going to be great.
Hey, my question is also for Robert. In Invincible, characters die and come back way later in very comic booky, kind of almost satire ways.
Sure.
How much of that is planned ahead of time? How much of that is like, oh, it'd be cool to bring this character back in this volume. Let me do that.
I mean, it depends on a case-by-case basis. A lot of times it seems like, oh my God, he planned like 60 issues ahead of time for this to happen and then for this to come back. A lot of times I planned for that to happen 5 issues later, but then I never got around to it. And so it seems like, oh my gosh, he had such a long plan. And it's like, no, I just messed up. So that part's cool. When it comes to like the Darkwing moment in the very last issue, I was trying to come up with some kind of like cool punch for that scene. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be neat if, Darkwing was lost in this dimension in issue 60, now that we're at issue 144, like like people would think I was a genius if he like suddenly came back, and it seemed like I had planned it the whole time, but that was really like on the fly as I was writing the scene, like, how do I make this better? Oh, this dumb thing. And then people are like, ooh, a lot of planning. So sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's not. And the fact that, if I'm doing my job right, you can't tell which is which.
I can't tell, so.
Great.
Hello there. Invincible has been my all-time favorite comic book, so hearing about the TV show and movie was amazing.
Great.
How are we going to go and balance the difference between the movie and the TV shows? Do we want to be more dramatic than the other because Seth Rogen is going to be more comedic for the movie than the TV show would be? How is that going to all work out?
It's a little early to get into the specifics of that. One will be a cartoon, one will have real people. But there will be, huge differences in the way that the material is adapted. There will be huge differences in the way that it's handled, the tone and things like that. I definitely wouldn't say that one is more comedic or one is more violent or more serious. I think that Invincible as a property, if I could sound like a cold, emotionless robot, as a story, exists at its best when it is all of those things, when it is somewhat funny, when it's really jarringly violent, when it's, very dramatic. And so both iterations will have those things to varying degrees. But you'll see a very cool difference, and hopefully they'll work in tandem in a cool way, the same way that Walking Dead, has a very cool video game series and cool comics and novels and a television show. So hopefully it'll be kind of like that.
Great. Thank you. Look forward to them.
Thank you.
So that kind of led to my question. So
Oh, good.
You see, well, excited for the platform gaming. So that's good to get on platform gaming. Are we going to see Invincible or other Skybound properties get onto some platform gaming?
You have a cagey answer for that?
I think the approach really with any of the properties that we have is, does it make sense? And if it makes sense, and if we speak to creators that can come up with something really interesting that we get excited about, then sure, absolutely. But it really does have to fit the platform that we're going for. And if we can find something that we get really, really excited about and think this is going to be super cool, then yeah, absolutely we'll do it. And we're kind of always going through that process of talking to creators who are specialists in their field and saying, what could you do with this? And does the team that's going to develop the game, are they fans? Do they understand it? Those things are super important to us. So marrying kind of, a great story with a great team is always, can create interesting stuff, but it really has to fit together well.
So we've been really excited to have, like Thief of Thieves is one of Robert's creations, to get that out there in the world of gaming as well. But we're definitely looking at a series of the other comics that we're working on, saying, hey, which of these sort of has an opportunity to sort of be a great game, and not just sort of, again, that we want to make sure that we're doing something unique, doing something special, so that they're saying, okay, this fits that, right? So we started with Telltale and The Walking Dead because it was like that really embodied the narrative choices that people face in the comics. So we're like, okay, how can we take something like Oblivion Song and make the best opportunity there? Or how can we take something like Murder Falcon? Can you say it for me?
Murder Falcon.
Thank you. If we say, how can we find a way to do the best things with all the different comics that we have? And so if we can't find a good one, we're not going to do it.
I can say this as kind of the new person in the group. A lot of other media companies, they will sit down and there'll be a directive of we need to have a game here and we need to have a TV show. We do it completely the other way around. We do it much more organically. We do it, again, I keep going back to that, if we think it's cool, great, we'll do it. But it has to really.
It has to inspire passion with all of our
Absolutely,
teams, right?
yeah.
We all
Yeah.
get in a room, all the different divisions and team members, and if the passion comes out, depending on what the content extension may be, that's where we go. But it's not sitting down and putting down exactly scheduling out what has to happen. It needs to come from passion and possibility.
Invincible gaming would be badass.
Yeah.
We completely agree, but again, it's got to be right.
Yeah.
If you just start and say we're going to make an Invincible video game, you have to have something a lot more than that to be able to work with. And then again, it has to be something that Robert gets excited about because he's going to have a huge amount of input in making that thing come to life.
It has to be the greatest superhero video game of all time.
Yeah, or it could just be a Mario game that they skinned Mario and made him look like Invincible. Then I would love it.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
Can I ask another question?
Invincible Odyssey coming to the Switch.
If you could cross over Invincible and Walking Dead with any other universe whatsoever, what would you choose?
Transformers.
And no Jetpack Baby. That was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jetpack Babies. Yeah, that was good callback to the panel that no one else was at. Yeah, no, definitely Transformers. I love Transformers. Or Destiny or something. I don't know. We'll see. Summoner's War. There's a lot of options.
Okay, thanks.
All right.